Hey guys, so this is going to be a bit of a different video where Sean starts off with talking about the macro markets. Okay, it's only once he's gone over that do we really get into Bitcoin's analysis. So if you're someone who is in a hurry, I will be including timestamps in the description below. Okay, so yeah, enjoy this video.
Testing, testing, testing. All right, so let's get into it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. My name is Sean Dexter, and I welcome you back to the Mango Grove for your daily Bitcoin analysis video. I have the beautiful, the gorgeous, the radio voice, the love of my life, Krisha. Krisha, say hi.
That's one way to make me super shy, even off camera. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed, Krisha. A lot of interesting things happening over the weekend. Bitcoin whipping up, Bitcoin whipping down, Bitcoin whipping up yet again with that interesting weekly candle close. Oof, Bitcoin not making it easy. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
A lot of uncertainty in the markets at the moment. Sure, we did have a good weekly candle close, all right. Considering the support level that we did hold, we've been looking at the support level on the dashboard over here, drawn of the 4-day time frames. Again, I do want to remind you guys, the 4-day time frame, the Mango time frame, is available for free on app.mangoresearch.co. Simply click on this box over here and you guys have access to the 2-day time frame as well, which is not available on the free version of TradingView. So go ahead and use app.mangoresearch.co. And right over here, the 4-day SNR levels drawn in automatically for you guys, all right, marked out the support zone. We bounced off it and we held it. However, the picture isn't as rosy as we'd like it to be, because Bitcoin ever so slightly closed underneath that 21 EMA. So we do have a weekly close underneath that. Now we are poking our heads above the 21 EMA, and many of you guys might be saying, hey, everything's okay, that weekly close wasn't that bad. But at the end of the day, guys, the entire point of that 21 EMA, the reason you're using it over your trend lines, your diagonals, even your horizontals for the matter, is to remain as objective as possible. And we have close underneath it. You have to take that seriously, all right? Even if we take it back next week, right? For this week, you have to have that red flag go off in your mind. Be like, okay, I need to be a bit more cautious, okay? And with good reason, right? There's a lot of uncertainty going on in the markets over here, which I'm going to go ahead and just for the time being take off the 4-day SNR, keep only the 21 EMA. And I want to highlight you guys that US 10-year yields have gone up, US 30-year yields have gone up as well. You guys can see that Dixie is pretty much sideways. Again, I'm not going to be too concerned about Dixie until we break 90 to the downside, or 95 towards the upside. Until then, it's noise in my opinion, and people are not focusing on the right things. The yields have gone up. US 10-year and 30-year have both gone up, and there's really interesting movements or reactions from the rest of the market, right? In fact, let's go on over to the charts really quickly. Okay, heads up, by the way, guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different, right? We're going to be having a conversation talking about higher level concepts, higher level timeframes on Bitcoin as well. We're going to be sticking to the macro timeframes. We're going to be targeting a lot of macro topics too over here. I'm not going to try to, or rather I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, Krisha, right? Not overwhelm people, but we're going to be all over the place, okay? I have my cashew nuts over here. I have we have a LIT too right over here, and it was someone in the Grove, Krisha, by the way, who got me craving nuts. She that sounded wrong, but she was like, I like peanuts, and I'm like, yeah, and cashew nuts too. They're nice. So I got myself a bowl of spiced cashew nuts, and we're gonna have a great conversation today. Okay, so let's go on over to the charts real quick. And what I want to do, guys, I want to go ahead and pull out the 10-year yields, okay? And we can see that we found support on the dynamic. Okay, so we came in, put in a lower high over here. So the yields have been essentially on a macro downtrend, right? Like you just scroll out, you can see this has been lower highs, lower lows, lower high, lower low. So nothing surprising over here at all, right? People have been getting less and less and less over the past decades. But what's really interesting, Krisha, is that the weekly has reclaimed the weekly dynamic level. Okay.
Mhm.
And this was in a way expected because the Fed came out and said that, hey, we are going to be tapering our bond purchase program. Okay,
Mhm.
that's what they said. Okay, I want you guys to keep in mind the real message over here. We're going to be tapering our bond purchase program. And everyone fixated on the word tapering. Oh my God, that's got to be really, really, really bad. We're going to be dumping for sure now. So that was considered a very, very hawkish move. But in reality, what they are saying is we are going to be printing less money than usual. We're going to be still going to be printing a lot of money, right? But we're just going to be printing less, and we're going to be buying less bonds from the market, right? So the bond market got spooked out by that, and they sold off. That's why you're seeing the yields go up, right? So bonds sell off, yields go up. It's like inverse. They react inversely to each other by the nature of them, right? So we're seeing the 10-year yields go up, but look at the way SPY reacted to that, right? So there's one or two ways to look at this. Essentially, people are saying, hey, listen, we are looking to store our value somewhere. We don't want to buy bonds because bonds are essentially, the Fed is literally pulling the rug from us now. They're going to be reducing their purchasing power. Or rather, sorry, they're going to be reducing their monthly purchases from the bond market. We don't be buying bonds. On top of that, I believe, Kusha, that the bond market is finally beginning to say that, hey, listen, inflation is not as transitionary as people are saying. Okay, people talk about inflation being very temporary and it's going to all go back to normal. I know about that. You know about that either. We always believed that inflation was essentially going to make a new high or higher low and then kind of stay there. Best case scenario, go sideways or just keep going up, right? So I believe the bond market is picking up on that idea too. Because if you look at the tips market, maybe I have it over here. The break, yeah, I think I have it over here. Yeah, so the break even inflation rate is sitting at around 2.34, right? So the bond market might be beginning to say that, hey, you know what, we're sick of this. We are going to start demanding more interest. We're going to be demanding more yield, right? There's a chase for yield. So they're saying we're going to be selling off our bonds, yields are going to go up, and we're only going to be interested in the bond market when the yields are going to be worth it. Okay, so there's two forces over here to push the bond market lower and yields higher. Okay, now people are saying that, okay, we can't store we can't store our value in bonds because bonds are going down. So what are our options over here? Well, we can store our value in equities. That's one way to look at it, and that's why SPY may have bounced, and that could be a bullish sign, right? People are fleeing from the dollar as well as the bond market and trying to store their value into equities. And this was very, very similar to what happened in Germany during their inflation crisis, when they did not trust their currency anymore and the equity markets rallied, right? This was back in the day. Now we could be seeing something like that, or maybe the Fed news was kind of already priced in, and as soon as the news hit, there was nothing more to be had anymore in terms of downside, and they're like, hey, this is a buying opportunity. Because Kushal, let's look at the monthly time frame right over here, and what's going on over here? Well, this is freaking bullish. This keeps going up, right? You can't really be bearish on this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's going on the macro side of things in terms of traditional assets. Okay, bond markets are selling off, yields are going up, SPY is getting a bid, catching a bid, at least temporarily. We're yet to see whether this continues, but yields going up nonetheless. Okay, do they keep going up is the big question. SPY on the monthly still looking good. Okay, so what does this have to do with Bitcoin? You guys might be asking. Well, guys, Bitcoin is still a risk asset. And when you start seeing your risk assets go down, you start seeing things like SPY go down, you're going to start seeing Bitcoin go down as well. There was no more evident scenario than when we had the entire Evergrande situation recently with the entire China thing, right? So let's talk on that a little bit too, because we are approaching a monthly close. This is on everyone's mind, and this is a real contentious topic too, because people are saying, hey, this is a lot like the Lehman Brothers scenario, where everything may go to shit, right? And there are other people coming in and saying, hey, no, this is not as bad as that, blah blah blah, and because people are talking about it, it can't be as bad, it's already priced in, blah blah blah. Now, what the approach I want us to take over here as a community at Mango is have like literally be on no side. Okay, you don't want to be too bullish here, Okay, you don't want to be trying to counter trade sentiment, especially when markets panic. Okay, especially when markets panic, your your TA is going to your indicators, your lines, your trend lines is going to mean nothing. Your TA, on the other hand, is going to mean a lot because you can spot market panic, you can spot people getting into cautious positions, right, beforehand. Trend traders do tend to good trend traders at the very least do tend to catch big wins in these kind of scenarios if you can spot the correct movements. So what I want us to understand is that, firstly, is it like Lehman Brothers? For sure, that's the big question on everyone's mind, and I would say no, not really, not in my opinion, because keep in mind that the Lehman Brothers situation, most of their assets were financial assets, and they were heavily leveraged. Their debt to equity ratio was, I believe, so for example, Evergrande, they are a real estate company. They hold a lot of land. Okay, they hold a lot of land, so that's hard asset that they can sell. Okay, they can sell and get the required liquidity to service their debts. Okay, their debt to equity ratio is at around 80%, compared to Lehman Brothers, who I believe was at 5,000%. So they were heavily levered, right? I believe it was 50x or something like that. Something ridiculous. So it's not the same scenario, but we don't know how connected this situation is with the rest of the markets, right? So that being said, okay, just be aware that there are people in the market who are being cautious, and when we don't have that bullish environment, that cautious environment may turn into fear and then into panic as more and more stops start getting triggered. Okay, so keep that in mind. So monthly though, SPY is still looking good. It caught a bit on the weekly time frame. Okay, so with all of that, now we can now go on over to Bitcoin. Okay, how's Bitcoin doing on the monthly time frame? We already showed you how Bitcoin's looking on the weekly on the dashboard right over here. We do have it. Weekly 21 EMA has been lost, but we did see a bounce off the 4-day support levels. Okay, so Kusha, with all of that, with that long-winded introduction, what are your thoughts on this monthly?
Introduction. I mean, the monthly is still holding its key levels, right? And I think that's all that matters, really. That's all people need to be looking at on the monthly time frame. Yes, right now it seems like Bitcoin has put in another lower high if you're just looking at the 1 month time frame. However, it is worthy to note that we're still holding that dynamic, which is a key level that Mango has been going off of for, quite
It's
some
been
time
really
now.
rewarding.
And it's been extremely rewarding, exactly, keeping us on the right side of the trade, on the right side of the market, because there is a right side here. And additionally, there was one more level that we have been looking at, Sean, which is the 10 SMA. And if I'm not wrong, I'm not sure if you can pull it up on your chart, but the 10 SMA, I believe price is still holding that 10 SMA. And that has had historic significance in the past. If you are someone looking at the monthly time frame, switch on that 10 simple and just look at every time Bitcoin has lost the 10 SMA. That has led to another move to the downside. In fact, it is usually the impetus of, a bear market.
And on the flip side, you could literally use the 10 SMA as a gauge for your bull market runs.
Yeah.
Right? Living above the 10 SMA, stay angled towards the upside. Right? In fact, the 10 SMA has been good buy opportunities each time we've gone into a bull run. Like right over here, this entire zone, 10 SMA, Kijun, held, boom, still holding the same levels. Okay. So the question is, are we in the middle of a cycle, or are we at the end of the cycle? Is this that lower high, right? The bears want this to be the big lower high, and then we dump. So you guys don't need to guess on that, right? Well, the thing is, right, let's start with the downside. If we are looking for downside over here, you don't need to guess for the downside, because you want to be a trend trader and you say, hey, above the 10 SMA, I am going to be angled bullish. So once we do lose that 10 SMA, then you can start looking for that downside move. There's a nice range trade to be had initially, all the way down to around 30,000, 32,000-ish. So lose the 10 SMA, coming in at around 43,800. I'll be looking for Bitcoin to come to around 32,000.
Yeah.
Just based off the Ichimoku, lose the 32,000, we can look for further downside. Okay, so now we can have some fun with this. Okay, let me go ahead and just undo these drawings. Let's pull up BLX actually, because we have way more price history. Right, we're going to pull up the BLX. Let me switch to the dynamic actually. Where I use yours so much now, Krisha, that I don't even know where my own dynamic is. Okay, there we go. So we are going to switch to BLX right over there. Okay, now over here we do have our drawings from like way before. We were drawing these in when Bitcoin was sitting around 8,000 to around 10,000 region, and Bitcoin is still playing off those same indicators, right? If we go ahead and hide our horizontals, that the dynamic over here, we have far more price history. You guys can simply use this as your gauge. Okay, you can see that each time we've lost that monthly dynamic, Kusha, we did end up putting in a bear trend or bear impulsive move at the very least, right? So right over here we can see that we lost it slightly, right? Ever so slightly. Well, it's not ever so slightly on the monthly time frame. Lost it significantly, close underneath it, and then we put in a lower high that gave us a short opportunity, and then boom, towards the downside. So if you do go into a bear trend, you could wait for that dynamic to actually be lost, get the lower high short, and then look for the move to the towards the downside. Same story over here. Let me turn off the tempo for you guys. Okay, right over here, lost the monthly dynamic, came in to put the lower high. If you guys got this shot over here, would have been freaking fantastic, and boom towards the downside. Or just wait for multiple candle closes underneath the dynamic where you're sure that, hey, price is struggling to get back above. It just isn't getting back above, and then you could have taken your shot around that 6,500 level, which is essentially what I had done at the time. Of course, we did not have the dynamic back then, right? Now that shows the downside over here too. You can see back when Bitcoin had this major run towards 1,000, we lost the monthly dynamic at around $427. Wow. That Bitcoin will reach those prices one day, guys. 427,000. But for now, we're looking at these prices. We closed underneath the dynamic, retested it, and then had the down thrust to around $150 before continuing the macro bull trend.
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, Krisha, the macro bull trend, I do want to go ahead and pull up another close that is coming up very soon. The monthly is closing very soon, Krisha. 3 days and 15 hours. Well, we are also about to close a 3-month in 3 days and 15 hours. Yes. And look at how beautiful this looks, right? We can go ahead and pull up our horizontals. You can see that it's lining up, right? Put on bull flag, broke towards the upside, bull flag, broke towards the upside. Is this another mini bull flag, right? We don't know just yet. But in 3 days and 15 hours, will this picture hold? That's what the 3-month time frame bulls are looking for. The bears, of course, want to see this candle close red. This does close red. We're not going to have the same picture. It's going to be a little bit more bearish, but it's still not the end of the world. But yeah, I think over the next 3 days and 15 hours, we're going to see some excitement. And there's really little reason, Krisha, in my opinion, to be putting on risk until we get those candle closes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because it's going to be easier. We're closing something else very soon, Krisha, and that's going to be the 4-day time frame, right? And this is where things are getting either uncertain depending on your perspective, or more certain, because if you pull up the ribbon, the mango ribbon, or your Ichimoku, we can see that things are essentially getting so we lost a 21 EMA, lost a Tenkin. Now we've reclaimed the Tenkin, and we might be reclaiming the top of the cloud as well.
This has me a bit antsy for the bearish side. I'll say this, because usually if the bearish pressure, that sell pressure really has to come in, and if it indeed is a bear market, you notice, I mean, I've always observed that, you know, you find the break of the 21, especially the Tenkin. We lost both levels there, as well as the cloud level. And we got that test, that retest. However, we're not seeing follow through. Right? There's no fall through to the downside. So, and when does this end? When do we close this candle? 2 days and 15 hours. So if this closes green, I'm telling the bears to be a bit more cautious here. Be very mindful of your position, as well as definitely risk manage. Keep your eyes peeled on the higher time frames and those candle closes, because that is going to be the dictating factor here.
Indeed, there were times where we've lost the 4-day 21 EMA, all right, and we did not see follow through, and that was around the 10K region, right over here, Krisha. And what did that end up what did that lead to? Well, it led to the massive run towards the upside, all the way from 10,000-ish to, well, 60,000. Now, are we seeing something similar over here? Well, you can't base it off just that 121 EMA, right? So let's go ahead and pull out the Ichimoku again. And there's something interesting here that people are missing, Kusha. This entire time, we've been away from the cloud, away from the Tenkin, away from the Kijun, complete disequilibrium, while Bitcoin has been trending all the way to 60,000. Well, things are now getting back into equilibrium. Okay,
Yeah.
we are near the cloud, very close to cloud. Tenkin is now beginning to angle towards the upside, at the very least flatlining. If Bitcoin starts living and starts closing multiple candles above the Tenkin and the cloud, well, we're going to start seeing the Tenkin start angling up, right? The Kijun is going to start going either sideways or downwards. What are we going to get over there?
It's gonna be a super duper bullish TK cross.
On the 4-day time frame. All
Yeah.
right. Now let's go ahead and historically check how has a TK cross in equilibrium, right, held Bitcoin in the past. Okay. Now again, guys, be very careful using TA like this. You should not use it like this. Use it holistically, and you need to have invalidation points. But let's look for bullish crosses. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my 200 moving average. And the last bullish cross was right over here, Krisha.
Yeah.
Right, this was right after the COVID dump. I wouldn't say that this was in complete equilibrium, but we were above the cloud and close to the cloud, right? So green cloud, Tenkin Kijun a little further away from price, but price really close to cloud. Nice consolidation over the 21 EMA, retested Tenkin, and boom to 60,000. Okay, cool. So that was your bullish cross right over there. Where was your next bullish cross? Apologies for that. We had a bullish cross right over here. Right over here. Okay, now again, price close to the Tenkin and Kijun this time, but the cloud was red. Okay, and we still had the massive edge-to-edge trade, right, Kusha? We were trading this. The Mango YouTube channel was relatively new at that period, and we were trading this live, and this was a massive run, right? So we had the TK cross, and boom, good run all the way there. Okay, so where was the next bullish cross? We had a bearish cross over here, didn't end too well, and boom towards the downside. Bullish cross, I would say. Let's turn off the 21 EMA. Did I miss it?
No.
Oh, right over here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we had a bullish cross over here. In fact, over here, Krisha, we had a this would be more similar to our scenario, correct? Because we are having a bullish cross above the cloud and close to the cloud.
Yeah.
Right? And when you had the bullish TK cross, had to run all the way to, well, 20,000. So this took us from $600 to 20,000. That was a good run. I mean, at least if in my eyes, I know a lot of altcoiners would want way more. But yeah, so again, right over here, we had another bullish cross, and boom. I think I'm missing a level where it didn't work out too well, because I did do this once. It was this one right over here, eh?
Yeah.
Okay,
Here.
Yeah. So right over here, we did have the bullish cross come in, but guys, it came in right after a C-span trade of disequilibrium, right? So we had the C-span trade all the way to the top of the cloud, Kijun testing it, and then pulling back in, and then crossing again, and then we had the run. So this was a I wouldn't say outlier event, but an event to keep in to understand the TA behind it, or rather how it was different compared to, well, this scenario over here and the kind of scenario we're seeing over here, because this is really bearish, where we have, or rather bullish if it plays out, where we have the bear cross and no follow through.
Yeah.
Right, the last time we had a bear cross on this level over here, we saw a bear trend, and then this level over here, we saw a bear trend. So over here, if we instead see a bear cross and an immediate recross, I'm going to think that's bullish. But we've not seen it yet, guys, so don't get too excited. This could be bearish still if this starts breaking underneath the Tenkin, especially if we start living underneath the cloud. I'll be looking for further downside, perhaps all the way down to 19K to 20K. However, if we see the opposite and we start seeing price live above 51,000, that key 48,000 to 52,000 level I've been harping on for months now, we see 4-day candles close above there, I'm going to be looking at that monthly structure now to give me the opposite scenario. We're going to turn on the dynamic one more time. And what has happened now? We've talked about scenarios where Bitcoin loses the dynamic towards the downside, and we'll be looking for further downside all the way perhaps to 14,000 is a possibility. Keep that in mind. If we lose that level, if this, then that. Okay, and we talked about how we lost it over here at 7,000 and moved down to 3,000. We lost it over here at 400, moved down to 150. Well, what about the upside? Well, I'm looking at candle closes on the monthly time frame. Okay, if we close above 60,000, what are the possibilities? Well, let's go back historically over here and just check what has happened each time Bitcoin has closed monthly candle closes above key levels. Right over here, 10,800, a key level in my opinion. We were talking about this over and over and over in every video. Every video, right? We said if that happens, we're going to see a massive run, possibly to 50,000. We saw it. We closed, retested it. We were super bullish, got the big move. Okay, well, this level over here too, this key monthly level at 9,500 was another level, right? Got that as well, retested, move. Again, this monthly close level, 13,000, another key level. It all happened in the space of 3 to 4 months. So people had a chance to build their positions leading to that. And then we had the big run. Okay, let's go back to the historical cycles now. What would be a level that you'd be eyeing, Kush? I'd be looking at somewhere around here, at around 683, correct? Yeah. Closed above it, right? I would say this is a sort of retest, got picked up really fast, and retested that 700-ish level and went all the way to 20,000. This also lined up, Kusha, with that 4-day TK cross that we just looked at, right? This level too, right over here at around 1,200-ish, closed above it. Let me go ahead and plot a horizontal for you guys. Right over here, it's going to be a bit messy. Oh, I have it there. So right over here, guys, closed above it and just had the massive run from 1,200 to $20,000, right? It's a good move. Again, over here, same story. Monthly close above 149, had the big up thrust, right? And this is reminding me a lot of the scenario that we're going through at the moment. A quick up thrust after closing through some key monthly levels, and then a pullback, right? So again, quick up thrust, pullback. Do we see a huge run again is the big question. Now again, that's only if there's then that. We're sitting in the middle of the zone at the moment, Krisha.
Yeah.
How do you play this?
Right now, I think it's a range. I think it's a range traders market. I'm playing the ranges right now. A lot of you know that already. But I do believe that just by looking at the price action on the lower time frames, I think that the bears have the edge on the ranges. However, in terms of really assessing where the trend lies, Sean, I mean, looking at the monthly still looks pretty good. It's on the side of the bulls. And I'll say this: we close over that 10 SMA in the next 3 days. We close over the dynamic as well. I think that the bulls have a good chance to pick this baby back up.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone messaged me and said, hey Sean, so and so person on Twitter is saying that this is definitely a lower high, and you don't know that, guys. You can't say this is a lower high. You can't say that it could be a lower high. We can't say that it is a lower high. If we do come in and take out a low over here at 28,000, then this is definitely a lower high. But until that happens, you cannot say that this is a lower high, because if the next month comes in and takes out this high over here, well, then that month is likely going to be the potential lower high, right? But until then, right, the trend is still an uptrend. We don't have a downtrend on the monthly yet, right? So be very careful. Be very careful of people who think they understand trend analysis, but they don't.
Yes, sirree.
So yeah, I know this video was a little bit different, guys. You guys don't have your real targets, etc., etc. But at the moment, that monthly time frame, that 3-month time frame, is the one to be keeping an eye on. I said this last year, in fact, damn, it was last year. I kept harping on that these monthly closes from September to October, right? I'm like, guys, staying away from all the lower time frames. We're going to be keeping an eye on the high time frames only. It's going to lead us to that huge win, right? They're not in the same scenario as last time, of course, because we're still mid-cycle, at least for now, seems like it. Last time around, we were in the beginning, the precipice of a big move, right? This time it could be the beginning of the last final huge quarter that Bitcoin may go through before the next down leg, right? So keep your eyes on what's important: the monthly time frame, the weekly time frame. We're looking for the week. Okay, I do want to quickly highlight the uncertainty over here. On the weekly time frame, we lost the weekly 21 EMA, but we held the weekly dynamic to the T, Krisha. Yeah. Wick to the bottom of the dynamic, closed above, right? So now the big question is, the dynamic was created for exactly these scenarios, to avoid getting shook out, to get better entries, right? Is it going to prove itself the victor in the scenario? Does Bitcoin pick itself up? I'm going to be proud if it does. The 4-day as well, Kusha. I do want to go ahead and quickly highlight to people that we are up against the 4-day dynamic and the 21 EMA as well, right? Coming in at that zone. We reclaim these levels going into that monthly close. It's going to start looking good. So the 4-day dynamic reclaimed, the 4-day 21 EMA reclaimed, the weekly 21 EMA reclaimed. Going into a good monthly close is going to get me feeling a lot better about Bitcoin.
Yeah. Amen.
So,
Amen.
any thoughts, Krisha?
No, that's all. I think you've covered the major crux of it, and let's leave it at this. This is the high level picture that everyone ought to be looking at right now.
All right. So with that, guys, do the mango way, do the easy way, do the stress-free way. My name is Sean Dexter.
My name is Krisha.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Out.